There's a trend in careers this century that's looking increasingly inevitable, and it's no small issue. 1 in 5 people will be affected by these trends in the next 10 years, and many more thereafter. The trend is a rise in green jobs, and the need for green skills to go along with them. Now, as a producer and researcher, I have been able to make sense of every report that the show has covered so far. But since launching in January of 2024, I have been anticipating a problem. Just a week before this show launched, the Parliamentary Office of Science and Technology released a report on green skills in education and employment. The problem is that I am still a student. In fact, by the time you're seeing this video, I will have started studying a master's at the University of Edinburgh, specifically at their School of Geosciences. So I can speak about education, but I feel a little ill-equipped to talk properly about employment. So I enlisted some help. This is my friend Harvey. He's an experienced recruiter who has a lot more experience of handling careers of others and his own, as well as talking about them on his YouTube channel. We're teaming up to unpack how green skills are changing the face of education and employment. So let's get started. Humans have been having an impact on the environment since they first started working the land for agriculture nearly 10,000 years ago. Today, though, the most significant environmental challenge that we face is climate change. Our means of building workplaces, powering workplaces, and travelling to and from workplaces all create varying levels of greenhouse gas emissions, which warms the planet and causes a whole host of problems. To prevent these issues, greenhouse gas emissions have got to come to a stop. Governments around the world have pledged net zero greenhouse gas emissions targets, with the UK targeting net zero by 2050. Now, whilst governments can pledge this, a lot of the work that will go into delivering these goals through the clean energy transition falls down to the country's respective workforces. And since the world of work and jobs has long been impactful on the environment, it requires a shift. It requires something new. There's a need for green jobs. Employment in an activity that directly contributes to, or indirectly supports, the achievement of the UK's net zero emissions targets and other environmental goals. That as defined by the UK's Green Jobs Task Force. These are jobs like smart meter installers, heat pump engineers, countryside rangers and ecologists. With the need for and number of green jobs on the rise though, you need people who are qualified to fill in the roles. People with the knowledge, abilities, values and attitudes needed to live in, develop and support a society which reduces the impact of human activity on the environment. People with green skills. Now, the POSTnote report provides examples for 3 types of green skills. Practical skills, like heat pump installation, domestic recycling, energy grid engineering, and peatland restoration. Enabling skills, such as project management, collaboration, public engagement, and digital abilities. And understanding or attributes, be that, say, scientific literacy in carbon and climate, environmental stewardship, and systems thinking. Most of these jobs do depend on their context though. Now, a lot of people may think of green jobs and associate them with sectors that are already low carbon, but more and more they're actually being founded and used in sectors which are high carbon but are actively decarbonising. Welding, for instance, is a good example where it wouldn't be considered a green skill if it was applied in an oil refinery. However, if you applied it to building renewables, then it would be a green skill. The context matters. Now, the fact that some green skills are context dependent is a good thing. Reason being, they won't necessarily have to be taught from scratch or brought up through a whole new generation. Instead, they can be reapplied from existing workers into new contexts, perhaps just with a tiny bit of retraining, known often as upskilling. That transferability is going to be crucial, because although the green jobs revolution is for a noble cause, it is going to put some people out of the job. This is where I'm going to need Harvey.
Energy generation and storage developments are creating rapid growth in the energy sector. Its growth is in fact so rapid that stakeholders report a shortage in management and leadership, as well as technical competency. Meanwhile, the oil and gas sectors, people employed in these areas are reliant on the demand for fossil fuels, which the world is moving away from as part of the green transition. It's for this reason that they are in sunset jobs, those that will see less demand in the future. There are emerging green jobs for these people though. Many of the skills in the oil and gas sectors are transferable to renewables. Some of the barriers to this shift might be the lower salaries and the changes of culture. Take a look at the heavy manufacturing sector, and the picture is a bit different. Solutions to decarbonise the steel sector involve electric arc furnaces, and these require fewer workers to operate. Therefore, rather than the jobs moving within the sector, there will be fewer jobs in the sector, period. So people will be put out of work. What makes this worse is that the steel sector is centralised to certain regions, such as Port Talbot in Wales and Scunthorpe in Lincolnshire. And unfortunately, there's no guarantee that green jobs will emerge in the same places that sunset jobs are lost. Therefore, the livelihoods of the workers and their families could be put at risk, and in extreme cases, it may force them to move. Now, these are far from the first jobs to be affected by developments in technology, and nor will they be the last. For those looking at entering into green jobs though, what are the routes in? Well, they are the routes you might expect. Schools will play a long-term role in teaching green skills. They will do this by laying a foundation of knowledge about the net zero transition and the available careers. They can engage in outreach, and perhaps more so with sectors that struggle with talent attraction, such as waste, recycling and resources. Meanwhile, universities are foreseen to provide an important route into senior roles. This is due to there being a high demand for sustainability professionals providing business advice, amongst other enabling skills. Plus, there are various strategies aiming to increase the number of STEM graduates who may have more technical skills. Some of the more technical skills may be taught outright by vocational education and training. These are your apprenticeships, your T-levels, or your higher technical qualifications, or HTQs. These include industry placements and great routes into key sectors such as forestry, construction and engineering. In fact, the Institute for Apprenticeships and Technical Education has created new occupational standards for green apprenticeships, such as the role of forest craftsperson. Now, these are great routes for the youth and for the future generations, but 80% of the 2030 workforce are already in employment. Therefore, the green skill transition will mainly involve upskilling existing workers. Some of the key players in providing this include higher education colleges, formal training and qualification providers, employers, and higher education institutes. Some private companies do operate skills academies and provide sector-specific training. As well as that, there are several UK-based schemes that are focused on upskilling, even if it's not specifically focused on developing green skills. These involve skills bootcamps, free courses of up to 16 weeks for adults focusing on developing their digital, technical, and green skills. Courses for jobs to gain a free level 3 qualification, and the lifelong learning entitlement that will kick in from September 2025. This will provide loans for learners up to the age of 60 studying courses between level 4 and 6. Now, there are some challenges in getting people into the training. Vocational routes don't have nearly as much visibility as more well-known routes such as university. Plus, they are also perceived as having lower prestige compared to going through academic routes. Additionally, sole traders and micro-enterprises in key sectors find it difficult to deliver the training. Fortunately though, we do have the 2023 autumn statement that was announced by HMRC. This states that they will rewrite the guidance on tax deductibility for training costs for the self-employed and for sole traders to help with this.
Now that was just one example of the government supporting this kind of work, but it brings us to today's final question. Given that net zero has been established by governments, what policies might they be able to implement in order to support the work going towards it? Well, the POSTnote report highlights 5 policy considerations. First, policy certainty around the details of net zero and specific commitments to solutions is essential, as this will increase investment, demand, and skills provisions. A long-term continued commitment is essential here, because there is typically a delay between identifying the skills that you want and training a competent workforce with them. Second, raising awareness of co-benefits is crucial. Green jobs and the way that they are planned can support workers and communities, creating a fairer society with fewer disparities, increasing the skills used by workers, promoting job satisfaction, and increasing diversity in the workforce, an ongoing challenge in a sector which is predominantly white and male at present. Improved labour market information will help to map and forecast desired skills, and to provide a timely training regime. It will be a large data collection exercise, but a useful one. Meanwhile, improving the quality and accessibility of training could also come about by the standardization between trainers. This way, vocational training routes will become more prestigious, and vocationally educated workers will become more resilient in a broader sector. Finally, public engagement to improve awareness of what green skills are and the career routes available is highly important. Engaging young people who are concerned about climate change and concerned about their ability to find decent work will be a great way, potentially, of solving multiple issues in one. Now, who doesn't like the sound of that? Thank you for watching this episode of Science Fairs. If you enjoyed it, then be sure to leave a like, and if you really loved it, then be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss the next episode. You can find the link to Harvey's YouTube channel in the description below. There he covers all sorts of careers advice. It is well worth the watch. And who knows, maybe I'll be appearing on there at some point soon. Otherwise though, there is a lot more coming soon on this channel, and we're very excited. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching.